You've probably seen this happen. Someone starts presenting, and at first, people are with them. There's eye contact, a few nods, maybe even some genuine interest. And then, little by little, the energy changes. People start checking their phones. Their eyes drift. Cameras go off. Reactions disappear. But the presenter keeps going like everything is fine. If you've ever watched that happen, or worse, realized halfway through that it was happening to you, here's the truth. People usually don't lose the room all at once. They lose it gradually, and most presenters do not notice until it's already gone. Today, we're talking about why people lose the room when they present, and more importantly, how to make sure that doesn't happen to you. Before we jump in, I put together a free guide called the Executive Presence Presentation Checklist to help you stay clear, avoid over-explaining, and keep people engaged. You'll find the link in the description below. Now let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Work Chat, where we help you navigate the modern workplace with more clarity, confidence, and influence. Today we're talking about one of the most overlooked presentation skills out there, knowing how to keep the room. Because great presenters do not just know what to say, they know when to move on, they know when to adjust, and they know when enough has already been said. A lot of people assume that if they prepare well, the presentation will go well, but that's not really how presentations work. A presentation is not just about content, it's about attention, it's about energy, it's about connection. And here's the part that matters most. You do not get to decide whether your presentation is working. The audience does. So let's walk through 6 of the biggest reasons people lose the room when they present. The first reason is that they start presenting to their slides instead of connecting with the people in front of them. You can usually tell when this is happening. The presenter is focused on getting through every slide, covering every detail, and sticking to the script no matter what. Meanwhile, the audience is drifting, but the presenter doesn't adjust because mentally they're still trying to finish the deck. That's the trap. Your job is not to complete the slides. Your job is to move the audience forward. Those are not the same thing. A much better question to ask yourself while presenting is not, did I cover everything? It's, are they still with me? That one shift changes everything because now you're paying attention to the room, not just the material. The second reason is that people over-explain. They think more detail will make them sound smarter, when in reality, it usually just makes the message harder to follow. This happens a lot with smart, capable, high-performing people. They care about the work. They know the details. They want to be thorough. And somewhere in their mind, they think, if I explain this clearly enough, people will see the value. But in real life, over-explaining usually has the opposite effect. It does not make you sound more impressive. It often makes you sound less confident, less strategic, and less aware of what matters most. When you give people too much detail, the main point gets buried. People stop tracking, the energy drops, and instead of sounding sharp, you start sounding like you're still trying to convince the room. Strong presenters do the opposite. They lead with the point. They say, here's the key takeaway, or here's what matters most, and then they support it with only the information the audience actually needs. That's what makes someone sound clear and credible. It's not about how much they say. It's about how quickly they help people understand what matters. The third reason is that they miss the signals that the audience is starting to disengage, and the room is always sending signals. People stop nodding. Their faces go neutral. Questions become more basic or more confused. Someone starts multitasking. Someone looks away for too long. The energy just feels flatter. Those things are not random. That is feedback. The problem is that many presenters are so focused on what they plan to say that they stop paying attention to what is actually happening in the room. So they keep going, even when the audience is already slipping away. That's why reading the room is such an important skill. Every few minutes, even quietly in your own mind, you should be checking in and asking, are they still with me? And if the answer is no, your job is not to push through harder. Your job is to adjust. Maybe you shorten the explanation. Maybe you summarize faster. Maybe you ask a question, maybe you skip ahead, but you do something. Because the worst thing you can do is notice the disconnect and then keep presenting the exact same way. The fourth reason is simple. People keep talking even after the point has already landed. This one is huge. You make the point, it's clear, it makes sense, people got it, and then you keep going. You add another explanation, then another example, then another sentence just to make sure no one misunderstood. But instead of making the point stronger, you slowly drain the life out of it. This happens because a lot of people are uncomfortable stopping. Silence feels risky. Brevity feels incomplete. So they think, let me just add one more sentence. And honestly, that one more sentence is often the exact moment the momentum dies. A good rule is this: stop a little earlier than feels natural. End the point while people are still with you. End it while it still feels sharp. Because the moment you feel the urge to explain it just a little more, that is often your cue to stop. The fifth reason is that the presentation goes too long without any interaction or reset for the audience. If you talk at people for too long, especially on Zoom, attention will naturally start to drop. That's not because your audience is bad, it's because attention has limits. Sometimes the room just needs a reset. And that reset can be simple. You can ask, does that line up with what you're seeing? Or any quick reactions before I move on? Or does this make sense so far? Those are not interruptions. They are re-engagement moments. They bring people back into the conversation, and they give you useful information about whether people are still tracking. And finally, the sixth reason is that people focus too much on delivering information and not enough on creating clarity. Most people think their job is to deliver information, but the best presenters understand that their real job is to create clarity. That is a completely different mindset. When you're focused only on content, you try to include everything. You aim for completeness. You measure success by how much you covered. But when you're focused on clarity, you simplify, you adapt, you make decisions in real time based on what the audience actually needs. And that is what makes someone effective. Remember, people do not walk away impressed by how much information you had. They walk away remembering what made sense, what felt clear, and what helped them know what to do next. That's really the mindset shift underneath all of this. A presentation is not about proving how much you know. It's about helping the audience understand what matters, remember what matters, and know what to do next. Once you get that, everything changes. You stop trying to impress people with volume. You stop treating every slide like it has to be delivered exactly as written. You stop thinking the goal is to say more, and you start presenting with more intention, more control, and more awareness. That's what strong presenters do differently. They start with the outcome instead of burying it under background. They watch the room instead of hiding behind their content. They cut things in real time when needed. They use pauses instead of filling every second with words, and they know how to close clearly instead of drifting to the end. That's the difference. So if you want to stop losing the room, here's what I'd keep in mind. Talk to people, not to slides. Lead with the point instead of building up forever. Pay attention to the signals the room is giving you. Stop earlier than you think you should. Create moments of interaction, and focus less on saying everything and more on making the message land. If you want help applying this right away, download the free guide, the Executive Presence Presentation Checklist. It's designed to help you sound clearer, more confident, and more polished in your next meeting or presentation. The link is in the description below. And if this episode helped you think about presentations in a different way, make sure to subscribe to the Work Chat. Remember, communication is not about saying more. It's about saying what matters and knowing when to stop. And I'd love to hear from you. What's one sign you notice when someone starts losing the room? Drop it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next episode.